Well, here's my International Harvester, 1972, made in 1972. It's got the 392 cubic inch engine in it. It's a 1310 camper special. I just finished rebuilding the carburetor on this truck, and I had a hard time getting it to run. It actually ended up being the problem was this connection to this coil. It was tarnished. After all the years, it was tarnished, and the breaker points were actually contaminated as well. I wasn't getting a good clean spark out of the motor, intermittent, so I ended up changing the points and the condenser on this truck, looking for a spark. Funniest story about this is that I thought it was in pretty good shape, so I took it out on the freeway. I actually got it up to 70 miles an hour, and heard some noise, thought maybe gravel kicking up off the road, but it wasn't. What it actually was that the alternator belt that drives the fan belt, it's a toothed type of a belt, and it was disintegrating, and little pieces of the tooth were flying off inside the engine. Anyhow, when I came off the freeway, the truck quit. It was dead as a hammer. I couldn't get it to start. Some people helped me out, and I managed to call a tow truck. This was a hard one for me to diagnose, because I did put in new points and adjusted them, and it still wasn't running right, until I eventually found that there was corrosion. After 50 years, there was corrosion between the terminal on the coil and the wire that feeds the electric to it. I have some hot start issues with this truck. Starts good, but after you run it for a while and you let it sit hot, it'll actually flood, and you'll have to put your foot on the accelerator all the way to the floor to unflood it and get it to start. If you look closely here, I put an electric fuel pump on this, and it's the vane type. It doesn't click, it spins, and I got it from Rock Auto. So I put an electric fuel pump in it because I was getting a lot of bubbles on the actually a lot of bubbles coming up from the mechanical fuel pump to the fuel filter. There were a lot of bubbles coming up here from fuel vaporization from the mechanical fuel pump. You can look at the bolts coming up holding the carburetor to the manifold, and you can see how long they are. I had an aluminum riser on there, okay, and I put it on thinking it might kind of keep the heat from going up to the carburetor, but the aluminum riser, it didn't do any good, and just another source for more leaks, so I actually took it off. I think the truck runs better with the carburetor mounted directly on the manifold anyhow. I'm trying to build some confidence with this truck since it left me stranded on the off-ramp on the freeway, and two guys helped me out. One towed me off the ramp with a chain on his truck, got me out of the danger zone, and another guy called a tow truck. In my excitement, I forgot to bring my cell phone, so those guys were really helpful. I offered them a tip, just going to give them some money, but they wouldn't accept it. So what can I say? There are good people in this world. As one guy suggested, well, actually what he did to solve his carburetor flooding issues after a hot shutdown was to take off his mechanical fuel pump, put in a blanking plate, and put a switch on his electric fuel pump. So when he would go to shut his motor down, he would turn the electric fuel pump off, let the car run for a few minutes till it drained the float bowl, and then shut the engine off. There would be no fuel in the float bowl to flood the carburetor. I'm just about going to do this, but I'm going to take it for a drive today and see how it does on a hot start. This mechanism here that controls the hot air coming into the carburetor, well, there's a little valve up there in the air filter housing that controls this door down here at the bottom, and it was malfunctioning. So I actually took it loose. It's left open, and any heat coming off the manifold, like for a cold winter, to prevent carburetor icing, I took that out as well. But right now I've rerouted the fuel line, trying to keep it off of the hot spots of the engine, and I'm hoping for the best. But I might have to get a phenolic spacer for the carburetor as well, which is why I'm leaving the bolts on, the longer bolts on the carburetor, for the phenolic spacer. So this truck runs well. I'm going to take it for a spin, see if I can get some confidence in the truck. I'm not going to take it anywhere where it wouldn't be towable. Lots of places I like to go out here in the desert, but I'm not going down any of those dusty roads, because if I do have to call a tow truck, I want them to be able to find me. So I'm trying to build some confidence in this truck, and I'll be going for a spin in it today. If it means anything to you guys, this truck has a Holley 4160 carburetor on it, and like I said earlier, I have rebuilt it, and it just purrs like a kitten. When I start it, I'll let you hear it. Here's the sound of the engine at idle. No bubbles coming up on the fuel filter. That's because of the electric fuel pump. See the new belts I put on? Got a little bit of a soft manifold here. Not bad, nothing cool. The master cylinder's been replaced, as well as the brake booster. Here's what the exhaust pipe looks like on the back, how the engine sounds. This is the driver's side. Here's the bed of the truck. Real clean, no rust. Here's the side of the exhaust on the passenger side of the truck. Sounds good. Idle speed right now on this truck is set at 600 in drive. 600 RPM in drive. It's got new Firestone tires on it. The rim on this truck, the rims are 16 1/2 inch. So it's hard to come by tires. And you can tell by the emblem, this is an international harvester. It's got the window wings on it. Something you don't see in modern cars anymore. It's got the big extended mirrors for towing. Did have to vent this cap. It was a non-vented cap. There was no vent in this tank. I didn't vent it, create a vacuum, shut the motor off. So I did vent this cap. This truck did come with factory air conditioning. I've removed the compressor, seized up. And over here, you can see where the evaporator is. Again, it's an international hoax. 1972, 1310. 392 cubic inch, 3-speed automatic. Power steering, power brakes. Get a compressor on it. It's already got the condenser, got the evaporator. You can put air conditioning on this truck real easy. Here's what the truck looks like inside. It's a nice clean truck. At least I think it is for its age. Put in a new ignition switch. Trying to troubleshoot my issue before I found out that it was a connection to the ignition coil. It does have a crack in the window. It doesn't go all the way through though. It's just half. It doesn't go through to the outside. The mirror that was glued on, I think, caused the crack. But again, it's a crack, but not all the way through the windshield, just one half of the glass. All the instruments on the instrument panel are working. The ammeter and the fuel gauge are working. This truck has dual tanks on it, left and right. I'm only utilizing one tank, which is on the right. The radio works. Very loud, needs a new speaker. This carburetor came with an automatic choke on it. I ended up taking the automatic choke off, putting in a manual choke. Works better. Here's the door panels. Kind of your international golden color. Right? There's your other door panel. Pretty good shape. Only thing I don't like is the cracked dashboard. That's the word I'm looking for. The cracked dashboard. That's because the truck has been sitting in the sun. This truck had been sitting for a while. Ended up replacing actually both light bulbs. I think it's an 1156, 1157 light bulbs on the left side of this. And now all the turn signals, brake lights, flasher lights, everything's working on it. If you look at the tire size, you'll see that it's a 50R 16.5 LT. You got Firestone on the ground on all four, and this is a Goodyear workhorse. I want to tell you a little story about this drive shaft on this International. It had a vibration, not severe, but not something to be ignored. I went in to replace the drive shaft hanger bearing, or they call it a carrier bearing, and I found out that the drive shaft was out of phase. It's a two-piece drive shaft, and it was out of phase, meaning the front of the drive shaft didn't line up with the back of the drive shaft. So I measured it real carefully, eyeballed it, used the string, got it phased. It's perfect now. Vibration is gone. So if you have a vibration that's coming from your drive shaft, make sure, if it's a two-piece drive shaft, make sure that the yokes line up correctly. You can look it up on the internet on how to do that. It's called getting the proper phase in your drive shaft. Okay? And that's if you have a two-piece drive shaft. As for the spare tire, keep an extra quart of oil, transmission fluid, the jack for the truck, keep it all in here behind this tire. But what's interesting about this tire, having the truck sit so long, it had a flat tire, and it had actually come off the rim, and I couldn't get any air back in it. Took it down to Firestone. They got a tool, I've never seen anything like it, but he put it up against the rim of the tire, the steel rim and the tire, and set it loose, pulled the trigger, and it blows air at such a force and high velocity that it blew the, what am I trying to say? The beads back onto the rim, and the tire sealed up instantly. I've never seen a tool like that before. I asked him if it was hydrogen filled or helium or whatever, and he said just plain air. But they got tools to blow the bead back on the rim so the tire can be inflated. But he did that all in one step. He just stuck it in there. It blew the rim and the bead back onto the rim and actually inflated the tire all in one shot. Never seen anything like it. Over here is the extra fuel tank. I think both fuel tanks, I think they hold about, I'm going to guess around 13 gallons, maybe a little bit more. And you can switch from tank to tank till you get to your destination. Again, this truck was made for camping. It is a 1-ton pickup. It's made to carry 1 ton, and when I got it, it did have a camper on it. It's got, I believe you call it I-beam front suspension. It's got the leaf spring front. No coil springs here. Leaf springs with an I-beam suspension for the front of the truck, the steering. Here you can see the crack in the front windshield. If you went over there and touched it, you'd find that it's definitely not all the way through. It's not coming through the window. It's just on the inside. Truck needs new windshield wiper blades. The sun has deteriorated these. But that's about it for now. If I come up with something interesting, I'll be sure to include it in this video. I'd like to thank you for watching.